You feel alone and tired, like no one is around. Depressed, you have no power, but it's not true. It would all work out. Just talk to someone. It would all work out. Just talk to someone.
All right. For me, my darkest day has been the thought of my family not needing me and me no longer wanting to be a mother and a wife. And that is difficult. Okay.
When you're ready, it's recording.
Okay. Oh. I was looking at the laptop.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, my name is Lakeisha Butts. I go by Blackbird. And for me, depression is something that I guess I used to consider to be taboo. A lot of us Black people in the Black community, that's something that we don't really like to talk about a lot, that we deal with it. I guess for me, I've always had to be the strong person. I'm the oldest of my mom's kids. I'm the only girl. I was always put in charge to be strong. I had to, be strong. Yeah. For me, depression, I can kind of, I guess I can describe it as being, back then I thought it was just kind of like loneliness or sadness. That's what it was masked as. But as I got older, I guess it was kind of like grief and anger. Maybe it's all of those things, I don't know. But wow. Yeah, so just this year alone is when I really recognized that I actually am depressed. And darkness, depression, anything that's going on in your head that can make you, those things that usually bring you joy, you don't find joy in those things no more. So currently at this particular point in time, or during the course of the last couple of months and peaking up until now, it's been really hard for me to find and accept love from my family. For me, I'm gonna start from 2018. I'm probably gonna be skipping all over the place to tell you about my journey for depression that really made me realize that that's what this actually really was, like depression / anger, and how I'm actually managing. 2017, I was in a series of automobile accidents, a lot, and I think that's what made me break. I was in February 2nd, 2017. I was on my way to work. I was in an automobile accident. I traditionally had a very active lifestyle. I'm always constantly on the go. Anyone who really knows me knew that I'm always just running all the daggone time. But I had a car accident where I was T-boned on my way to work, and then 4 days later, in the rental car, on my way from work, trying to get from work to the salvage yard, I was hit again. And at that particular point in time, I think I had like a nervous breakdown because I was just hit on the second. I also have autoimmune disorder. So my body was fighting against itself. Not only that, I'm just trying to paint the picture on why, like this, like why my body kind of like, my mind kind of snapped, and why I guess I'm like, was where I am battling now. I guess this battle with my mind. I was going through, and I can say this out loud now because it took me a long time to actually talk about it, because we like to paint the picture in our lives like everything is okay, but a lot of us it's not. I was going through foreclosure in my house. All this was around the same time, 2017. So I was moving out of my home in December of 2016, having to quickly move into a new home February 2017, which is around the same time of those 2 car accidents. And then also my lupus was flaring up. So, and I had just had a nervous breakdown in 2016 because of trying to come up with the money and all that kind of stuff, because it was telling us that my house was in the process of being foreclosed on. It seemed like everything has been irking me, you know, been emotional, over emotional, snapping at my family, feeling as though that there's space, like my space has been invaded, extra alone time that I need. And you know, being alone, like in the old Bible adage, I'm not even sure if it's a Bible adage, but you know, we, you know, Christians like to, or attribute that, you know, the idle mind is the devil's playground. So when you're going through things, and you know, I'm not sure if this is scientifically true, but you know, usually a person who is going through darkness or depression or anything like that, they like to separate themselves away from their normal routine, and that's when I know that something's wrong with me. So my darkest time for me, I know I can attribute it wholeheartedly, is thinking that I'm better off without my family, thinking that, you know, I don't even want to do this wife mother thing no more, you know, they are definitely better off without me. It's just been a lot. I can sit here for an hour to sit here and tell you all the things that I was going through. I have had like 4 more car accidents. I had a total of 6 in the last year. I got transferred to a job because of what was going on with my health from the car accidents. I was unable to teach my fitness classes anymore because my body was out of alignment. I was having a lot of pain. I was losing income, obviously, because I was not able to teach anymore. Teaching fitness classes was that was like, for me, my grounding. I loved it. Also, I designed jewelry. So because of the impact of the car accident, I wasn't able to hold, you know, my tools anymore. So I was losing money like that. It was stressful, and I just felt, I'm married, but it just felt like, you know, I was doing it by myself. My husband, you know, he was compassionate at the time, but because it was not him who was actually going through it, it just felt like, you know, I was complaining to him, you know, like he just didn't understand the stress that I was going through with my body. And like, what he told me, I just need to man up. That was his words. I just need to man up. So the way that I combat that is trying to realize that that is truly not the case, and accept love, accept the love from my family, accept that I'm truly blessed to have them in my life. You know, try to spark joy, finding things that, you know, realize, you know, take me out of that darkness that I'm currently going through. Also getting back into creating. That whole thing with the accidents and everything that I've been going through, that really shook me at my core, you know. But being able to have opportunities and a network of sisters and friends and a tribe, and being placed with opportunities that allow me to modify and create, that has really has helped me out a whole lot. It was just, I can laugh, I'm laughing, but I just really thought I was truly losing my mind. And I'm not the type of person who like deal with medication, like synthetic medications or anything like that. I try to do things as holistic and naturally as possible. But coming from a fitness background, my way of usually combating my stressors, which is usually fitness, I couldn't even do that no more. You know, for someone who usually works out extremely hard, teaching fitness classes, channeling my energy and my stresses through creating things, you take those away from somebody because of the car accidents, it becomes extremely frustrating. It puts you into a very dangerous place of thinking. So I found myself, I started seeking counseling, and I was diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder. And a lot of people think that PTSD, it's usually attributed to people who are, combat veterans and things like that. But any trauma that happens to a person that's repetitive or happens at such a short amount of time can be post-traumatic, or simultaneous. That could be post-traumatic stress, like being in an abusive relationship. Those 6 car accidents happened to me. The foreclosure in my house, the situation that happened with a good friend, the thing with my job, all of these things that happened, my world just virtually collapsing at one time. All of those things happened to me in less than a year, within a matter of 6 months. That's considered to be post-traumatic stress. And I think us in the Black community, even living in an environment that is extremely stressful to you, we don't think about those things being Black. You know what I'm saying? I think we're just taught to just, like my husband said, you gotta man up and you gotta deal. And that's a very toxic, dangerous way of thinking. You can't just deal with stuff. You compound those things, and you have to find some kind of way of, I guess you can. You have to deal with it. You can't let it sit inside of you, because there are so many people who are not strong. You know what I'm saying? You need to find support groups. You need to find a sisterhood, a brotherhood, or a tribe to help you. You need to get counseling, although I don't deal with synthetic medicine, but don't let anyone tell you that medication is not a viable option. You need to handle your depression. Depression is, for me, and again, I feel like I'm just skipping all over the daggone place. Just one, I'm nervous. But for me, this depression is just, for me, and I never like to classify it as that, because I just thought, one, I had really bad luck. And I was telling these things to friends, all the stuff happened to me, and that's what they said, oh my God, girl, you Jesus, you got bad luck. I don't attribute that. I don't believe in luck, first and foremost, so I don't think that I have bad luck. But it's just difficult when you don't have a support system. A support system is extremely, extremely important when you are in a dark place. So in conclusion, I encourage you to find things that help you spark joy. In your dark days, find the things that bring you happiness and bring you joy. And realize that, although this may be a temporary situation, that it's not going to last always. Find your light, find your joy, find your tribe, and realize that, you are enough, and, you will be okay. All right? I'm Keisha, I'm Blackbird. Peace.
Suicide is lurking, and darkness is creeping in. Just say the name Jesus, and in His arms you will win. Just pray for healing, and let Him in. Please pray for healing. Survive. Please survive.